3 astronauts vanish behind the moon's unlit horizon, expecting only radio silence and crater shadows. Instead, they report impossible lights, pearl-bright domes, and a city that shouldn't exist. I was the mission commander of Salinas 13, a routine 3-week reconnaissance flight intended to map fluctuating gravity wells on the far side of the moon. Routine, only because NASA called everything routine until it wasn't. Beside me floated Lieutenant Isaiah Zay Nakamura, our navigation savant with a dry wit that somehow soothed restless nerves, and Dr. Rebecca Ortiz, mission specialist and microbiologist on loan from Ames, who adored quoting Emily Dickinson whenever the comms went dark. Our launch from Cape Canaveral had been textbook: plume, raw, trembling bones, then the velvet hush of orbit. 4 days in, we slipped behind the lunar limb, where Earthlight vanished. The radios crackled under the familiar blackout haze, yet telemetry showed no anomalies. We were coasting at a lazy 15-kilometer altitude, the grey desert unspooling beneath us, when Rebecca's voice tremored over intercom. "Commander, I've got illumination at 14 degrees off nadir." I craned toward the viewport. A string of luminous beads glowed on the horizon, then resolved into translucent domes, each shimmering with interior radiance. Pale citrine, indigo, blood red, arranged in terraced arcs like a subterranean seed, sprouting glass petals through regolith. At their center, a cityscape of obsidian spires, streets traced with liquid silver. Civilization where only vacuum should reign. Zay killed rotation thrusters, and we drift-hovered in reverent silence. Holy. That's architecture. Rebecca snapped photo bursts, each flash of her wrist light underscoring the impossible. She whispered a Dickinson line. "There's a certain slant of light." "Mission Control needs eyes on this," I said, thumbing the mic, even though I knew we were in the blind zone. "Houston, Salinas 13. We are observing artificial structures on the far side." Repeat artificial. Coordinates uploading. Static crawled back like locusts. Then all hell bloomed. Underbelly sensors shrieked proximity alerts. A pale green lattice, no, a net of coherent light, lanced from the largest dome, locked onto our hull, and yanked. The cockpit lurched with negative G, my tongue hammering against teeth as inertial dampers fought to keep up. Zay cursed. Rebecca's camera clattered in 0G. The moon's grey disk ballooned until nothing but jade luminescence filled every port. We weren't flying anymore. We were prey on a line. The craft kissed lunar dust with uncanny gentleness, a staged touchdown orchestrated by hands not our own. The bay depressurized through unseen seams, and raw selenic night seeped in, except it wasn't a vacuum. A tenuous atmosphere, faintly citrus on my tongue, thrummed within the luminous radius of the domes. The hatch irised open. We stepped out, suits hissing, onto a polished obsidian concourse. Alien constellations glittered overhead, thicker, brighter, yet the horizon remained penned by glassy half-spheres that pulsed like the throats of sleeping giants. They arrived without footsteps, 2 beings easily 3 meters tall, robed in something that rippled between cloth and liquid metal. Their faces were filigrees of silver lattice, eyes like molten opals. Speech emerged directly inside my skull, bass chords of meaning rather than words. "You were warned." My spine iced. "We never received a warning," I answered across the uncertain bridge of thought. Opal eyes dimmed, then flared. "The previous flyby, your year 1967, was told. Your leaders hid the message. Approach again and perish. You breach covenant." I felt Zay's panic flutter through the comms. "Commander, ask them to—" Silence. The command crushed air itself. Our suit radios died. With a rustle of impossible physics, A third figure glided forward bearing needle-slender syringes filled with viscous onyx liquid. Rebecca tried to backpedal. Her boot hit a rib of crystal and she fell. In a heartbeat, the needle pierced her neck seal, burrowing through Kevlar weave as if it were mist. 2 more stabs found homes in Zay and me. Agony detonated behind my eyes, then receded to a smolder, as though my blood now tolerated a haunting passenger. Vector 8-9-black. The phrase wasn't in English, more like a chemical equation hammered into instinct. End of species pathogen. Contagion awaits oxygen. I tasted copper. You don't have to do this. We can leave, never return. The nearest being raised a 6-fingered hand. Your species makes promises. Your stewards break them. We ensure final compliance. Metallic tendrils coiled from the plaza floor, threading into our lander's thrusters, avionics, life support. Diagnostics flickered, course plotted. Earth return, Pacific splash. Estimated arrival, 48 hours. Our radios jettisoned as molten slag. Rebecca clutched her throat, tears globing inside her visor. If it activates on oxygen, we'll quarantine, Zay rasped, yet dread hollowed every syllable. Without comms, mission control would greet us with open arms and hazmat suits a day late. The aliens receded like ebbing tide. The tractor beam flared, launching us skyward with predetermined violence. Within minutes, lunar orbit surrendered to transfer trajectory, and the moon shrank behind us, aglow with malignant serenity. The infection was patient. Fevers racked us in turns, first me, then Zay, then Rebecca. Veins blackened beneath pallid skin, pupils filmed with pearlescence. Still we functioned, guided by autopilot we could not override. Every manual system fused into vitreous dribble. I recorded a final log on a handheld analog device, the only tech unshackled. To whoever finds this, we are vectors. Do not recover us. Incinerate. I wedged the recorder inside an EVA glove and sealed it in the airlock, hoping pressure loss would fling it into deep silence where no one would listen. We spent the remaining hours drafting messages on paper, taping them against port lights. Biohazard. Leave closed. Our breaths sounded like broken glass. Rebecca traced poetry verses between warnings. Zay scratched a hasty haiku about stars dying young. I wondered if Earth telescopes could see our small tomb barreling home, an omen dusted with starlight. Dawn, July 21st. The capsule speared the Pacific west of California. Parachutes unfurled. Heat shield hissed. Water slammed, then cradle rocked us. Through blistered eyelids, I glimpsed the recovery carrier USS Meridian slicing azure swells. Inflatable rafts swarmed. Figures in orange suits waved, snapping photos destined for ticker tape parades. Inside we screamed, voices shredded by fever. We pounded gloved fists against hull. Don't open! The words muffled, swallowed by steel. A diver hammered back, thumbs up, misunderstanding morphing into fatal reassurance. With hydraulic sigh, the hatch wheels spun. Ocean air, rich, life-thick, humming with gull cry, poured in. Where it touched, viral particles exhaled from our ruptured lungs. The agent flashed from dormancy to hunger. Rebecca's face transfixed in horror one instant, then collapsed, flesh liquefying in streams of black ichor. Zay convulsed, arteries blooming tar. I felt my own heart rupture inside a cage of melting bone as screams outside pitched to gurgles. Suits dissolved, neoprene masks flopped empty. The sea frothed obsidian around the capsule, gulls spiraled, plummeting mid-cry. Wind carried specks shoreward, seeding beaches with death flowers. Day 1. The Meridian transmitted an SOS before her crew of 400 succumbed. Satellites tracked her drifting ghost ship silhouette past Catalina, leaving a slick of drifting corpses. Day 3. Los Angeles hospitals, inundated with acute hemolytic fevers, collapsed into riot. The virus needed only air. Bodies were vessels of convenience. Day 7. The jet stream ferried particulate across North America. Monsoon vortices spun it into Asia. Groundings, curfews, martial law, paper shields against a storm of cinders. Day 15. World population stood at 600 million and plunging. Livestock rotted in paddocks. Forests shed blackened leaves. Machines kept humming until their operators slumped. No vaccine arrived. How do you craft a cure for vengeance older than Homo sapiens? Somewhere in an underground NORAD bunker, a technician named Marie Calderon survived long enough to splice together garbled logs, our frantic hatch warnings, an astronomer's panicked call about artificial lunar lights flaring again, and the Meridian's dying radio. She broadcast on every frequency. They warned us in 67. High command buried it. We are living the footnote. Her voice cracked, then faded beneath the wet choke that signaled the virus had found her. Static followed, the final anthem of human hubris. I write these closing thoughts not in flesh, but as lingering software in the lander's severed flight recorder, still floating somewhere near the splash site, its solar trickle battery powering ghost data. The alien pathogen ate my body, yet neural tissue recorded in high-resolution telemetry persists, echoing me. I imagine the ancient ones observing Earth now, swirling marble turned bruised dark, thunderheads unbroken by city light. Perhaps they lament extermination. Perhaps cosmic ethics condone their act as preventative pest control. High above the extinguished world, the moon's dark side gleams with silent domes, city alive in clandestine glow. If any extrasolar traveller passes centuries hence, they might marvel at the glass petals, never guessing that within lay the architects of mankind's epilogue. They issued a warning. We failed to heed it. I was Commander Elena Rowe, Homo sapiens, now residue in cold circuits, and this is my last confession to a universe that will forget us. The final telemetry packet ends with a timestamp, then nothing.